Welcome to Clean With Me podcast. I'm Jessica.
And I'm Ronnie.
This is a podcast where we literally walk you through cleaning your house step by step. So let's clean together. Hey everybody, Jessica here, and today I wanted to do a part 2 of moving. But if you're not moving, no worries. Don't be deterred by the title, because I'm still going to give you cleaning applications and decluttering. So if you need to do some decluttering in your home, this can apply to you. Or if you're moving, this definitely applies to you. But there's definitely going to be some major decluttering talks and walkthroughs, because obviously when you're moving, you do a lot of throwing away and getting rid of stuff and reorganizing. So I'm going to get into things that I did wrong now that the move is almost over with. We've got all of our stuff in the new place, and I'm going to basically give you a rundown of what I did now that it's over. If you haven't listened to part 1, no worries. You don't really need to. But if you want to get the full conversation and the prequel, basically, me talking about what my plan was and what I was doing to prepare for packing, this is going to be the aftermath, what I didn't do that I wish I would have, and things my mom talked about in her previous moving episode that had some awesome good tips. So I'm going to link that in the description as well, because if you're doing a major move, you definitely want to listen to her episode. But I'm going to get right into it. Things first, you guys know what to do. Let's get ready for our cleaning session, whether we're moving, decluttering, etc. We still want to do the cleaning ritual, if you will. So I like to light a candle. Sound a little odd, but I had bought this candle right before I moved, and I lit it for like a week at my house. And the reason I did that, I don't know if this is even something that works, but I just thought in my head it might make me feel more homey. So I lit this candle a week in my house, and then I brought it to the new house and I lit it immediately so that the house would smell like my house. And it just made me, the plan was to make me feel more comfortable in the new house. And I already feel like this is mine. I don't feel like you know how sometimes when you move into a new house and you kind of feel like you're living in someone else's house? I already feel like it's mine, and I don't want to say it's fully the candle. I set up, some of my stuff and made it feel like my own, but I've only been in here a day and I already feel comfy. So that's just something I did to trick my brain. You know how I say we light a candle before we do a cleaning session? Well, I kind of used that same concept and applied it to the new house. So anyway, light a candle if you like to set the ambiance for your cleaning sesh. If you want to open windows, that's another thing I love about this house is they have big windows. So I love letting light in before any kind of cleaning session. That way you can see what needs to be dusted, cleaned, spots on the carpet, things like that. And also it just brightens your mood. And if you're in a better mood, you're going to be more productive no matter what. The worse mood I'm in, the less productive I am. I have noticed in my personal life. So even if I'm in a bad mood, lighting a candle, opening windows, getting ready for the day, those kind of things just kind of help the mood. Also triggers my brain into knowing that it's time for a cleaning session, since I do those things before every cleaning session. The main thing we want to do when it comes to cleaning is make it a habit, right? Because we can always have one really good cleaning day where we declutter, clean everything. But if we don't keep it that way, and I'm of course in the headspace where I just moved into a new house. And when you first move into a new house, it's like getting a new car. You're like, my kids are not going to eat in their bedrooms. They're not going to eat in the new car. I'm not going to ever leave trash in the car. And then as time goes on, we tend to forget about those things, get a little more lenient, throw some stuff in a drawer, make 5 junk drawers like I had in the old house, So the goal is to make it a habit to maintain and to make things a habit. Sometimes we have to be a little ritualistic, I guess. I don't know what the right word is, but doing same things before a cleaning session, getting ready, lighting the candle, opening the windows. I do that so that it triggers a response in my brain because I want to develop the habit of maintaining and the habit of cleaning at certain times of the day. And this, of course, applies to you and your life personally. Everybody's life is different. Everybody's things they have to do is different. And just think to yourself, in the past, when you've gotten the most done, what time of day is it? What time of day are you the most productive? Are you a morning person, a night person? Those are things to think about and then plan accordingly, because when making plans to clean or have a cleaning schedule, if you will, we want to be very realistic. Set realistic standards. And that's what I'm doing with this new house, is I'm setting realistic standards for myself. I know that I'm not going to be perfect, and, I know that I'm not going to be completely a new person that always maintains my house and keeps it immaculate, but I'm going to take advantage of the new storage. We have so many cabinets and cupboards, and for those of you that don't know, I was living in a tiny place before, teeny tiny little apartment. And it had absolutely no storage. I didn't have a garage. I had no storage whatsoever except this tiny closet, and it was for all of us. And then there was like a couple cabinets in the bathroom, and then we did have a lot of pantry space, but that's about it. So I definitely am going to be taking advantage of all the storage here, and I feel like my episodes are going to be a little better because I actually have a 3-bedroom, so it's a little bit more average, I guess, than the 1-bedroom apartment I was living in with my entire family. So definitely going to have new material, new things to go by with the new house and everything like that. So I want you guys to look forward to that. So you guys should be ready to start your cleaning session. I want you guys to do a load of laundry. So one thing I did before I moved is I did every bit of laundry I had, every single bit. Every blanket that had a little dust on it that had been sitting in the closet, I washed it. Every rag, I washed it. Now, there were 2 reasons for this. One, obviously my washer and dryer is not going to be set up in the new house for a minute, so definitely wanted everything to be washed. 2, you don't want to go into a new place with dirty clothes. We want a fresh start, right? Even though I'm setting realistic expectations, I still want to go into the house with 100% clean slate. And that's the main thing that I want to talk about. So just be loading your washer as I talk. If you don't have a lot of time to do a lot of laundry today, maybe just do a load of towels. If you are moving and you're following along for that reason, definitely just get all of your laundry done. Put everything in one place. If you have a laundry room, gather everything that needs to be washed. Make sure you have everything. Strip your sheets, your bed. Get everything together, and then it may look like a huge, huge mountain. I had a lot of laundry to do once I put everything in one place. But you just do it one load at a time, and just keep those machines running. At the end of it, you're getting stuff done and you don't even realize it. And that also gave me breaks from packing, because packing is really exhausting and it takes a lot out of you. So whenever I use those times where the washer and dryer would be done, I would set a timer on my phone, or I would listen to something on my phone, like one of my mom's old podcasts, because I don't like listening to myself, but I do listen to my mom's. So I would either listen to one of her old podcasts or put an episode of something on the TV that I don't have to pay attention to, like just background noise, and then, or talk on the phone on my AirPods, whatever it does that, whatever gets you motivated to while you're cleaning. And then I would take note of how long the episode was. That's what the cleaning podcast is really good for, timing benefits, because you can see how long an episode is before you go start. So I would start an episode that was the length of my washer and dryer time, and then by the time it was over, I would go check, take a little break, sit down, fold those things, and then do some more packing. And then that's how I was breaking it up and giving myself breaks, was I was using whenever the washer and dryer was done as a break from packing, and I would fold. That worked really well for me, and it was a way to give myself a rest, because you want to get it done, you want to knock it out super fast when you're packing, and you got to give yourself a little bit of a break. Now, for those of you listening that aren't moving, I would implore you to still, if you have a mountain of laundry, get some laundry done and use the same tactic. If you have a really messy house right now and you have a lot to do, the same thing applies. You can listen to different episodes that apply to whatever room, like say you need to do a decluttering of your bedroom, or you need to tackle a kitchen. You can listen to an episode, and then when the episode's over, it's a signal to go check your washer and dryer and do a load switch, and then you could take a break and fold. I also do this not just when moving, but if I have a big disaster on my hands, maybe I neglected the house for like a week and I was doing the bare minimum because I was really, really busy cleaning, and maybe I just had a really bad cleaning week. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes we just get really backed up, right? And I'll take a day off and I'll do what I did when I was moving, but instead of packing, I would do laundry. When the laundry was done, take a break, fold, and then get back to cleaning one room at a time and listen to my mom's old episodes. So definitely take what I'm saying if you're not moving and just apply it to decluttering. But I'm going to move on, and I am going to talk about moving, but just keep that in mind. If you need to declutter, just use what I'm saying for a decluttering guide, and it'll work the exact same, because that's exactly what I was doing. So one thing I did that my mom did mention in her episode, which I again will tag in the comments, is or in the description, she would number the boxes, and I did that. So I did have a small house, like I said, but you don't realize how much stuff you have. Whatever size house you have, you always have way more stuff than you think you have. And that's exactly when I said going into it. I was like, I always say I don't have a lot of stuff. Then when I start packing, it's a lot. So I'm going to start a day earlier than I had planned to, just in case. And like I said, there was a lot more stuff than I thought once I started getting down into the thick of it. And basically, you number the boxes as you pack them. So the things that you're packing first, the lower numbers on the boxes, you don't do it based on any room or anything. Just as you pack, 1. First box, you put a 1. Second box, you put a 2. And she said that she did this so that she would know that the boxes with the lower numbers were low priority, and the boxes with the higher numbers were high priority things that you need immediately upon getting into the new house. So the first things I was packing up was old blankets, things that I haven't touched in a while. Now this is tricky when it comes to the decluttering aspect, because when you're messing with closets and things that you haven't seen in a while, you want to be throwing away a lot of stuff that's not anything that is sentimental to you. So if something holds sentimental value, yes, we're going to bring that to the new house, right? Photo albums, a memento, I have some blankets that my grandma knitted me when she was alive. Things like that. Those go with me to the new house, even though they're not something I use day to day. But I got rid of a lot of old blankets that we haven't touched in a while, because we do need a lot of extra blankets for when we have company and such, but we don't need as many as we had. And I had a lot that had been with us move after move after move, and I was like, I have not touched these specific blankets since I've been in this new house, and I don't need them. We have plenty. I'm going to get rid of them. Towels with holes in them, clothes that I kept for the kids to quote unquote sleep in or paint in. Though I'm putting air quotes as I'm talking, because those kind of things, we want the least amount of clutter when we're moving into the new house, so those things got tossed. They'll make new clothes that they can paint in. They'll ruin more items of clothing. I don't need to keep carrying those along with me. So again, first thing I packed up was closets. If you have a garage, it would be like your garage, junk drawers. When I say junk drawer, if you're not from this part of the country and you don't know what I'm talking about, I have some drawers in the kitchen that in this part of the country we call it junk drawer. Well, my family does. And basically what's in them is, it's usually a couple drawers in the kitchen. It's supposed to be one, but it ended up being two at my house. And they have miscellaneous things in them like nails, tape, scissors, cell phone cords, which I had a whole box of cords. So that would be something that you would get rid of when decluttering. I got rid of tons of cords that I didn't need. I had an old Spectrum cords that they didn't need and that already got sent in, so it was just junk that I was carrying around that needed to be tossed. So I'm just giving examples, but if you're decluttering or moving, go through your drawers and just think, do these have a purpose, or am I just trying to move this to the new house because it doesn't look like trash? Just because something doesn't look specifically like trash doesn't mean it doesn't need to be gotten rid of. We don't want to just take the clutter to the new house. And some of this, especially if you're pressed for time when moving or decluttering, you want to just, okay, I'm going to wrap these cords up and take them with me, or I'm going to wrap these cords up and just put them in a more organized way into the drawer. But the problem with that is the more stuff you have, the harder it is to keep it organized. So the more cords you have, the more easily they're going to get tangled up in a huge, messy ball of uselessness than if you get rid of the stuff that you don't need. So I went through them. Maybe go through them with your partner or people that live with you, and make sure that, because that's another issue I've had. Again, don't want to bring my marital problems into the podcast, but in past moves, me and my husband have had altercations, little miscommunications, things get thrown away, and the other person gets mad because they wanted to keep those items. So if something is somebody else's, or if there's something in the in-between zone, like cords or something of that nature, I would definitely talk to your partner about it, spouse, what have you, teenager, whoever's in the house that those things might be intended for, and just be like, hey, nobody needs these cords, right? And if they're not with you immediately, I would just set them in a pile. I always have like a box pile or a bag of maybe throw away. I always have a trash bag with me while I'm decluttering, a maybe container for maybe stuff, and then a putting back into the drawer or box once it's organized pile. In my case, it was box because I was moving. And then If it's something that might be somebody else's in the house, I would consult with the other person and be like, hey, do you need this? Have you used this anytime soon? Do you know what this goes to? Could it be for something important? If the answer is no, 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 toss it in the trash. If it's something that could be donated, put it in a donation box. This philosophy it's pretty basic, and I'm sure you guys use the same thing, but sometimes we just don't get to it right. We like to do, for me, I get caught up in the day-to-day maintenance cleaning, dishes, laundry, that sort of thing. And then decluttering is obviously last priority because it's not something that you do every day, but it's definitely something you should set time apart for. And what I'm going to work on in this new house, in the new environment, is I'm going to set aside a time once a week to make sure that I'm maintaining, and if something needs to be put in check, like if my drawers are getting out of hand and my clothing, because that's what I struggle with, is keeping my clothing organized. If that's getting out of hand, reorganize it before it gets to be a disaster that's going to take me multiple days to get a handle on it. That's a big one for me, but I think that it's something that definitely isn't too much to ask for me. When I'm planning on things like this and making goals for myself, I definitely, like I said, want to make it something that's not going to be unrealistic. So maybe once a week is unrealistic for you. I have a little more time on my hands lately. Maybe you don't have a huge problem with getting stuff cluttered, or maybe you just don't have a lot of people in your household. So maybe once a month is more attainable for you. Maybe that's just more up to speed. Maybe you don't have a problem with that. Like I said, everybody's different. Everybody's got a different lifestyle. Everybody has different struggles. With me, my struggle is more maintaining stuff from getting cluttered. So I'm really good at getting it done. I'm a really fast cleaner. A lot of my friends have said, like, you can clean faster than anyone I've seen. If my house is a complete disaster and they come over and I know somebody's going to come over or we're going to have a party or something, I can get my house clean in no time. The whole house looking immaculate. But is it going to be organized? No, I'm going to be hiding some stuff in drawers and some closets, okay? I can make the house look real nice really quickly, but am I good at maintaining organization? No. But that's not who I want to be as a person forever. It's something I want to grow, work on, and change. So that's something that I'm taking into the new house, is I'm going to work on staying organized, keeping organization. And since I know that I'm not good at those things, that's why I made the rule of once a week. I'm going to evaluate the house, go through my drawers, and make sure I'm keeping up with those things. And if you are really good about keeping your clothes organized, but have other areas of issue areas, like problem areas, such as your garage, maybe you let things accumulate in the garage and they get super out of hand. I've known a lot of people whose houses are so clean, but then they can't walk through their garage because they've been living in the same house for 50 years and they just don't know where to start. And maybe this episode, you want to just use it to declutter your garage, because if you're planning on moving in the future, or if you're planning on staying in the house for 50 years, you don't want to not be able to get to your things, even if they're just, photos or old photos or sports items or tools in the garage. We want to be able to get to the things we have, and if you don't need them, toss them or donate them. We don't need things in our life making our lives hard, taking up space, getting in the way if they don't need to be there. So another thing I want to talk about during the move, I was doing a lot of decluttering, like I said. I was doing it one section at a time, one step at a time. So I would go to the top of the fridge, for example, take everything off of the top of my fridge because you don't want to organize up in the air, right? I didn't want to be on a ladder organizing, deciding what goes where. So I would take everything down from the fridge, wipe down the top of the fridge, and then I would sort through the things. And like I said, I had my piles. Trash, consult with partner, or a maybe throw away, because sometimes I don't need to consult with my husband about it. Sometimes I just am not sure if I want to let go of a thing. So that would go in the maybe pile as well. And then I go back to the maybe pile once I'm done and think, okay, I don't really need this stuff, toss. One section at a time. So I would do that on top of their fridge. Then I would do that on top of my cabinets. Then I would do it in the cabinets. And then once I got everything out, I'd do a wipe down of the inside of the cabinet. That way I didn't have a big cleaning job at the end of all of it. And then I would pack the items, wipe down and pack when it came to kitchen, because, sometimes our spices and stuff can get sticky. Like there was one, I remember thing of honey that spilled a little bit. So some of my spices were sticky. So I just wiped them down before I packed them. And look at expiration dates. You don't want to just take 50,000 spices into your new house if you don't need them. I definitely threw some away that were old. I had some that maybe I forgot I had garlic powder and I bought one. For example, if I use a lot of the thing, like I use a lot of garlic powder, I keep it. But if it was something that I knew I wasn't going to use, I put in a donate pile, and then that stuff I gave to the neighbors or what have you. Now, for me, one of the things that I didn't do early on that I wish I would have done, I'm going to go to some of the regrets I have when moving, was I had recently cleaned under the couches and the beds like a few weeks ago. I want to say like 3 weeks before the move. So I didn't do that before we started moving furniture. And then by that time it was down to the nitty gritty. We had already packed up the house, and there was a bunch of stuff that had still found its way underneath the couches and the beds and the dressers and stuff. Because I have small children, so stuff like that happens really quickly. Even though I had recently gone through all that stuff, it's still definitely, there was a bunch of stuff because, of my life. So I had to sit there and sort through all this trash, miscellaneous toys and whatnot. And that's another thing, toys. I have ADD brain, sorry. I don't actually have ADD, but I haven't been diagnosed, but I get a little scatterbrained, I guess is a better word for it. I don't want to offend anybody that actually has ADHD. I just have tendencies to get very scatterbrained. I haven't actually been diagnosed, but I'm scatterbrained, I guess is a better word for it. But toys, since I mentioned toys, I want to talk about do it when your kids aren't around, because things that are little baby toys, they're not going to miss them. They're not going to look for them. Things that your kids aren't attached to, just when they're at school, when they're playing in another room, that's when you do it, and make sure they cannot see it in the trash can. We had a couple moments during the move where my 3-year-old's like, Mommy, I wanted to keep that. Why is that in the trash? That's my favorite toy when I was a baby. I like to look at it. And I'm like, okay, I know you like to look at it, but have you played with it? And she's like, no. And I'm like, well, that's why Mommy's getting rid of it, because you haven't played with it. And she's like, well, I still want it. Okay. When she went out of the room, threw it in the big dumpster, and she never thought about it again. The end. So just things like that. And also when the kids were in the house while I was packing, to keep them out of the way if this is something that, because it's really frustrating, stressful, all other kinds of words. When you're packing, you've got a lot going on. It's stressful on your marriage. It's stressful on the kids. It's stressful on everybody. So to keep the kids occupied, I would give them tasks, and I tried to tell them, like, oh, it would be a big help to mommy if you just, like, wipe down the walls or something. But they were like, no, that's not fun. We want to pack. They wanted to put stuff in boxes. Anyway, definitely try to distract the kids or throw stuff away, go through the toys when they're not there. And then once I was done doing that, I did that before packing when they weren't going to be in the house, like when Rosalie was still in school, because she gets out at 11, my 3-year-old. And then once they were out of school, when they wanted to help and they wanted to be involved and they didn't want to clean or anything, how I kept them busy was I gave them a couple boxes and I let them pack toys that weren't breakable or anything. I said, you guys go ahead and figure out how to pack these boxes, and then I gave them some tape and I told them to go ahead and do it themselves, and they were thrilled by that, and that kept them occupied for quite a minute. They were super thrilled that I was letting them pack. So I told them, you guys focus on your stuff, you pack your stuff, and then because I told you if you listen to the last episode I did, they had tried to pack up all their clothes. Now, since that was pre-move, so after move, if you listen to the first one, I was talking about how I like to just tape up my dressers and not pack all the clothes that are in the dresser and just move the dresser like that. But we did have a hiccup with that. And I didn't think about it because my husband does a lot of the heavy lifting. I was helping, but, we went to go move one of the larger dressers that I have, and he was like, there's no way I'm moving this with all of those clothes in it. And it was mine, of course, because I'm the one that has the clothes hoarding problem. But so I had to quickly throw all of my clothes into boxes, and then that became an issue. Now that we're in the new house, I have clothes every which way. Now, one thing I wanted to talk about, since I did mention the clothes, so just to finish that up, if you have a huge dresser that's going to be really heavy, be mindful. Yes, you can tape, like my kids' clothes are not heavy. Their dresser is not heavy. So I taped that one up and we were able to move it. But my dresser, I didn't think about how heavy it was going to be, and I had to take all the clothes out because my clothes are a lot heavier than the kids and the dresser's a lot bigger. So I should have packed that ahead of time, and that kind of stressed us out because I was having to pack all of these clothes in a short amount of time. When we were already moving the furniture and the boxes out and everything should have been packed, I had to go find boxes and then repack all of these clothes, right? So just be mindful of the weight of things when you're moving, and don't use boxes that are too large. So you want to be mindful of that. Be mindful of how heavy things are when you're moving the boxes and such. So moving on. The subject of clothes being hard to get to after the move. I did, in fact, tell my husband, and I packed a bag for my kids, my husband, and myself for the 2 days that we were going to be in the moving process so that I could pack everything. I told my husband, get your stuff together that you're going to need for the next 2 days, including toiletries, and pack a bag like you're going on a trip for 2 days. And I did the same with myself and the kids. And some things, got left out. But so I had to dig through some boxes today. But try to be thorough when you're doing it. Think about what you're going to need for work and to get ready and those sort of things, so you don't end up like me digging through boxes trying to find your straightener or something like that. I tried to be prepared in that way, and I was for the most part, but there was things, like I said, that got left out. So that's good to do if you're moving, or especially if you're moving cross country. Like my mom, on one of her big moves, she did pack big bags, for the week. She told every kid to pack a bag for the week so that during the whole process of moving and getting the house together and everything like that, they had everything they were going to need for the week, and it didn't get packed up. And this is especially important if you hired movers or you have all of your stuff in a U-Haul and it's not easily accessible. I was doing a very short move, 13 minutes away from my other house, so I, wasn't super concerned about stuff getting packed in a box. Yeah, it's slightly inconvenient. I have to dig around in boxes, but we didn't have a whole lot of stuff and we weren't moving far, so it wasn't as big of a deal. Really far, definitely be thorough in packing bags so you don't get stuck without stuff and have to buy more stuff, because that's always not a good thing. Another thing I want to talk about, yes, I had a lot of laundry to do and I was backed up on laundry when I started the process of doing the laundry for the move, but one good thing it did come out of that was during the process of folding, and this applies, of course, whether you're moving or not. During the process of folding your clothes, you should always be willing to get rid of stuff as you're folding. So as I'm folding all of these clothes, because some stuff I had in the garage that I was washing, I had some bags of clothes in the garage that were for another season, and some stuff that were old costumes and things like that. And a lot of that stuff got thrown away and donated, I'm going to be honest. And it was very good because it's stuff that I was just dragging around from house to house. And if something survives or doesn't get unpacked or stays in the garage from one move to the next, if you're moving 2 houses and you haven't touched something and it's not sentimental, you definitely need to let it go, in my opinion. And that's the case for some of these bags of clothes. They were just old clothes. And I was like, I've been carting these from one house to the next. It was like, for example, one of the items was an old Ursula costume I had made for my daughter's first birthday party. I'm never going to wear that again. I say I'm going to, but I'm not. So, and it's not very sturdy. I just sewed it. Anyway, long story short, those are the kind of things that were in these bags. So I was emptying the bags and washing a lot of these things. And so as I'm folding, you look at the item, and if they've got stains on them, toss them. If they can be donated and you have not worn it in years, months, toss it or donate, depending on the quality. Obviously, if things have giant holes in them, you're going to want to just throw them away. Or if it's a handmade Ursula costume that you painted on tentacles made out of leggings, throw it away. But, in closing, I just want to say that, like I said, everybody's happier now, and the kids are happier, and I'm sure it'll help with stress levels now that we have a bigger place, and I'm super grateful for everything and everybody that helped me move. Fresh starts are great, and you don't need to move to get a fresh start. You can create a fresh start by going room to room as if you were moving and tackling all of those deep, dark spots that we don't ever visit, and declutter all of the little, shelves in our houses, the closets, the coat closet, what have you, the garage, and we can visit those places and just piece by piece, section by section, day by day. You don't even have to do it all in one day. Break it up, but you can restart just like as if you were moving. And if you're moving, use the opportunity to declutter as much as you can. And definitely, I feel better. I feel like it's a fresh start, not just because of the move, but because I got rid of so much weight, so much stuff. And you'd be surprised how good it makes you feel afterwards. So if you're not moving, I highly recommend that you start decluttering. Do some fall cleaning, and on your day off, pick one area of your house to start decluttering and just work your way throughout the whole house. And before you know it, you'll have so much more space, and it'll be so much easier to keep up with your clothes when you've gotten rid of all of the junk. Because I know I can go through my clothes so many times and I'll still hang on to stuff, but it's just annoying for me because I have to search through all of these clothes that I know I'm not going to wear to get to the clothes that I do. And instead of doing that, even though they're good clothes and I don't want to get rid of them, they can have a better home with someone that will wear them and will like the way they look on them and not have to, keep shuffling through clothes. So please try to apply this episode in not just moving, but reorganizing your house. And thank you guys so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. I hope you got some good organization and decluttering going on. And I hope you guys have a great day. Happy cleaning.